I used to just like steal, take stuff like that. I used to just take stuff. I used to snatch iPhones like that.
Hotboi's streak of luck, done. A judge just dropped a sentence on him that might keep him locked up for good.
My mom and my daddy. So we in the store. So you know how when you come to the line, you get to pick the candy when you go to the register and stuff. Get to pick your candy. So my mom was like, hurry up, you better hurry up, we're gonna leave you. Better hurry up. I still don't know what I want. I'm licking. They leaving, I grab the candy and I gotta catch up. I end up stealing it.
From petty run-ins to heavy charges, his rap sheet is no joke. But this time, he didn't go down alone. He dragged his baby mama and his own kid into the mess. Let's break down the baby mama drama that blew everything up. Picture this, it's 3:40 in the morning, July 9th, 2025. Hotboii gets busted in Dorado, Florida, caught with a firearm and trespassing on school property. That's not just risky, it's reckless. At first glance, it looks like another rapper spiraling out, but when you peel back the layers, things get wild. Word from his legal team, they claim the whole thing popped off because his baby mama allegedly exposed his location on social media while he was out with his people. Like, who does that? This wasn't just a slip-up. This might have set him up. And with a young child caught in the middle, that's where it hits hard. This ain't no regular tabloid mess. This is the kind of real-life drama that makes you stop and say, no way this really happened. Want to stay locked in on stories just like this? Don't miss a beat. Subscribe to Juicy Real for the rawest breakdowns. Putting your son in the middle of street chaos, that's the ultimate line you don't cross. You never expose your baby daddy's location, especially when he's got enemies out there watching, but that's exactly what Asia Monroe is accused of doing, and what happened after feels like a scene straight out of a crime movie. According to Hotboi's lawyer, it all spiraled when two masked guys tried breaking into Hotboi's place while he was with his kid. Now look, any real one knows, when your child's in danger, there's no thinking twice. You protect your blood no matter what. That's exactly what Hotboii did. He snatched up his gun, grabbed his son, and dipped out of there fast. But this is where things took a wild turn. While trying to get his kid to safety, he ended up getting caught by the cops with that same gun on school grounds. That's one of the worst spots for a convicted felon to get caught strapped. It's not just bad, it's catastrophic. Surveillance footage shows him jumping the fence, then chucking a black Carhartt bag over the next fence. Inside, a loaded Glock 45 9mm handgun. They caught it all on tape. No denying that. And here's the kicker. Hotboii was already on probation. Just having a gun is a huge problem. But getting caught with it at a school, that's next level trouble. The kind that could put him behind bars for a very long time. This story just keeps getting crazier. Keep watching, and don't forget to subscribe to Juicy Real for the realest updates straight from the streets. Hotboii was out the very next day after dropping just $2,500 for bond. Sounds like he got lucky, right? Not so fast. Anybody who really knows the system knows a low bond ain't always a win. Sometimes they let you out easy just to stack the charges later. The real punishment, that comes in court where judges don't play at all, especially when you're a repeat offender caught with a gun. But here's the part that really hits hard. If what his lawyer said is true, then Hotboii didn't just get caught slipping. He got set up, and not by some random op or snake on the street, but by the mother of his child. That's the one person who's supposed to have your back no matter what. Instead, she allegedly aired out his location while he was with their kid. That's not just messy, it's dangerous on a whole other level. Where we come from, there's a saying, keep your circle small and your mouth even smaller. But when the people closest to you start moving like enemies, that's when you know it's real bad. This whole situation has the streets lit up. Some folks are backing Hotboii, saying he was just doing what any father would, protecting his child, making moves to survive. But others, they're calling him out, saying he should have known better. Rolling around with a gun while already on probation, after everything he's been through with the system, that's playing with fire. One thing everyone agrees on though, having your baby mama leak your location, that's betrayal on another level. It goes against every unspoken code out there. You don't want to miss what's coming next with this saga. Subscribe to Juicy Real and stay locked in for more real street drama. What makes this whole mess even harder to swallow? This marks Hotboii's 5th arrest in just 7 years. That's a track record the courts definitely won't ignore. When you keep landing in the same type of trouble, judges stop giving you the benefit of the doubt real quick, and if you're already on probation from a previous case, any new charges can stack up fast. Not only do you face time for the new offense, but you could get slammed for violating your probation too. That's double trouble. And the part that hits the hardest, a child was involved. That changes everything. Hotboii's lawyer tried to paint the picture clear. He wasn't out there being reckless. He was trying to protect his son. And look, any parent with a heart can feel that. When your child's safety is on the line, you do what you gotta do. But the system, it doesn't care about intentions. It only sees charges. And let's be real, when a convicted felon gets caught with a loaded gun on school grounds, that's a wrap. The judge isn't gonna be focused on how or why it happened. They're gonna look at what happened. And from that angle, the timing couldn't have been worse for Hotboii. This could have been his comeback year. He had just come home in September 2024 after doing over 2 years on serious RICO charges. He was dropping new tracks, building momentum, and finally getting his name back in the game. But now, July 2025 might be the moment it all fell apart. So what even led him into that RICO mess in the first place? How did Hotboii end up tangled in federal charges and street politics? Now that you know how this story might end, let's spin it back and break down how it all began. Hit that subscribe on Juicy Reel so you don't miss what really went down. This is where everything flipped. Those RICO charges didn't just put Hotboii behind bars for over 2 years. They exposed a whole other side of him to the world. Suddenly, he wasn't just seen as a rapper. He was allegedly painted as the leader of a full-blown street organization. That's when folks really started realizing how deep Hotboii was tied into the streets, and how fast his music career got wrapped up in real criminal drama. It all kicked off back in July 2021. Hotboii got swept up during Operation X-Force, a huge 9-month-long investigation that took down 34 people, including another Orlando rapper, 9 Lock 9. But this wasn't some basic drug raid or street bust. This was a full-on RICO operation. And when the feds pull out the RICO playbook, that means they've been watching and building a case for a long time. RICO stands for the Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act, the same law they used to crush the mafia back in the day. So when prosecutors drop RICO charges, they're not just saying you broke the law, they're saying you're part of a criminal enterprise, a whole network of illegal activity that comes with serious time. We're talking 30 years behind bars minimum. That's the kind of sentence that shuts down lives, ends careers, and erases futures. Authorities claim Hotboii was the alleged head of the 438 gang, repping the Silver Star Road area in Orlando, and this crew was reportedly locked in a violent feud with the Army gang, allegedly run by Glock 9. That street beef, it wasn't just lyrical, it got real. You need the full breakdown on how deep this war went. Tap in and subscribe to Juicy Reel. This story's far from over. This wasn't just a rap beef spiraling out of control. This was real-life carnage. Investigators tied the feud between 438 and the Army gang to over 30 shootings and multiple homicides. And the worst part, innocent people got caught in the crossfire, lives lost for nothing. 2 names stand out in this tragedy. 16-year-old Taya King, the niece of Orlando City Commissioner Regina Hill, and Dexter Wrench Jr., a rising football star from Hotboii High with a scholarship lined up at the University of Louisville. Bright futures gone. These weren't kids in the streets. They were just in the wrong place at the wrong time. Victims of a war they never chose to be part of. That's the part that cuts the deepest. Now here's where the legal drama gets intense. The whole case against Hotboii, it hinged on 2 main things: his Instagram post and a gun found in his whip. That's it. Prosecutors said his IG was basically a digital trail of gang promotion, pics with firearms, lyrics referencing 438 coded messages, all used to argue he was pushing gang activity online. Then, while attending a friend's funeral, cops pulled him over and found a loaded gun in the car. That led to a firearm charge that made the case even heavier. But here's the big question. Where's the line between art and evidence? Hip-hop's always been a reflection of the environment, but in courtrooms across the country, lyrics and posts are being flipped into criminal proof. Is a bar just a bar, or is it a confession? This isn't just about Hotboii anymore. It's about every artist walking that fine line between storytelling and street truth. This case is shaking up the whole culture. Subscribe to Juicy Real for the inside scoop on how it all plays out. When rappers talk about guns, gangs, and the streets in their lyrics or online, the big question is, are they promoting crime or just reflecting the world they came from? In Hotboii's case, his lawyer Lyle Mason came out swinging, saying 438 wasn't some organized gang, it was just a hashtag, a symbol for Hotboii's neighborhood in Pine Hills, Orlando. Mason wasn't backing down. He compared Hotboii to rap legends like Notorious B.I.G. and Kodak Black, saying he was promoting music, not gang life. He wasn't glorifying crime. He was repping his label, Mason argued. It's just like Biggie or Kodak or any artist building a brand out of their story. And when it came to that gun found in Hotboii's car, the defense claimed it didn't even belong to him. It was his security's weapon, meant to protect against threats from rival crews. And in the rap world, that kind of protection isn't optional, it's essential. When you've got real beef in the streets, moving without security can cost you your life. But here's the twist. When that security carries heat and something goes wrong, the artist still ends up taking the fall. The case got even heavier because of Hotboii's alleged beef with 9 Lock 9 and the Army gang. The feds uncovered a long trail of retaliatory violence between these crews that had been boiling for years. It all boiled over on April 14, 2020, when Demetrius Cox, tied to the Army gang, allegedly shot and killed Wolf Luther King Luma at a house party. Wolf was linked to 438, and that single hit sparked a cycle of revenge that spiraled into multiple deaths. What started as music and neighborhood pride turned into a deadly war. Want to know how deep this blood feud really goes? Subscribe to Juicy Real and stay tuned. We're just getting started. In the months that followed, the violence took a dangerous turn, spilling out into public spaces. One of the wildest moments? A shootout at the mall at Millennia in Orlando. Authorities say 438 was allegedly targeting 9 Lock 9 in a broad day setup. Nobody was killed that day, but it was a wake-up call. The beef had officially jumped from the streets into spots where regular people could have been caught in the crossfire. That's when law enforcement snapped into action. The FBI and local police launched Operation X-Force to crack down on the chaos. A full-blown 9-month investigation followed, ending in 34 arrests. That number alone shows this wasn't just some clique of rappers talking tough. According to prosecutors, this was a structured criminal network with members involved in everything from gun trafficking to violent retaliation. And when it came to Hotboii, the courts didn't play. He was slapped with a massive $750,000 bond. That kind of number sends a clear message. The judge saw him as either a serious flight risk or a potential danger to the community. And let's not forget, he was only 21 years old at the time. That's a heavy low for someone barely out of their teens. But here's the twist. After doing over 2 years behind bars, the RICO charges against Hotboii were eventually dropped as part of a plea deal. Instead of going down for the full set of federal charges, he pleaded guilty to a single count of conspiracy. The court gave him credit for time served and hit him with 5 years of probation. Just like that, he was back on the outside. But was it a second chance or just a countdown to the next storm? Stick with Juicy Real for the real story behind the headlines. You don't want to miss what comes next. This was a huge win for Hotboii's legal team. Beating a RICO rap, that's no small feat. A conviction could have meant decades behind bars. But his lawyer pulled off what many thought was impossible, convincing prosecutors that 438 wasn't some organized gang, just a neighborhood hashtag tied to Pine Hills. That argument hit just enough to land Hotboii a lesser charge and a shot at freedom. When he walked out in September 2024, Hotboii wasted no time. He dropped a track called 9/11's First Day Out, and it went crazy. Racked up 1.2 million views in no time. That right there showed his fan base never left. They were waiting on his return. And that's the wild thing about hip-hop. Sometimes the courtroom only adds fuel to a rapper's legend. Legal drama, when spun right, can boost street cred and grow a fan base. But don't get it twisted. This wasn't Hotboii's first dance with the law. From 2018 to 2025, court records show he was arrested multiple times. Everything from gun possession to weed charges, even resisting arrest. This wasn't a one-time mistake. It was a pattern. And in the eyes of the court, patterns matter. Every new charge hits harder when your record's already stacked. Then came February 2025. Just a few months after that RICO win, Hotboii got arrested again in Orlando. The charges weren't crystal clear. Some reports say it was for a probation violation. Whatever it was, it showed one thing. Even after dodging the biggest bullet of his life, Hotboii was still caught in the system's grip. And that's the real tragedy here. Underneath all the chaos, he had something special, a real shot. Hotboii had deals with major labels, Geffen and Interscope. The industry saw his potential, but now his legal past keeps pulling focus from what could have been a major music legacy. Hotboii wasn't just some underground name, he had real clout in the game. He had worked with Future, Lil Baby, and Polo G, heavy hitters in the industry. His track Don't Need Time even went platinum, proving that this wasn't just street buzz. He had legit talent and mainstream appeal, but no matter how high he climbed, the streets kept pulling him right back in. Every time Hotboii tried to lock in on his music, something dragged him off track. The RICO case alone cost him over 2 years, prime years when his career could have taken off for real. And just as he was starting to rebuild, this July 2025 arrest hit, threatening to wipe out everything he'd been grinding for since his release. But here's the thing, this didn't all start with fame. To really get it, you've got to look deeper. Because Hotboii's story, it's not a one-of-one. This is the reality for so many young men coming up in similar environments, torn between big dreams and hard circumstances, between the booth and the block. From Pine Hills to prison, the line gets blurry. And to understand why someone like Hotboii kept falling into the same traps, you gotta go all the way back. Back to Pine Hills, Orlando, where a young kid named Javari Latry Walker first learned that surviving sometimes meant doing whatever it took. That's where it all began. Not in a studio, not in a courthouse, but in the streets where choices were limited and pressure came fast. Because the truth is, the streets don't just happen overnight. They build you, they mark you, and for some, they never let go. To see how it all really started and where it's heading next, subscribe to Juicy Reel. We're taking it all the way back to the beginning.